Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown and Dunkirk, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives, to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Well, we made it. It's spring. It's official, Justin. No more snow, no more rain. I'm positive of it. There was some ice and snow on the truck the other day, and I thought it was May 3rd, I believe it was. And I went back in my photo archives like everybody else. We have, 5,000 pictures on our phones. And May 6, 2020, we had snow that day 3 years ago. So I guess the beginning of May, maybe we have a little bit of a trend line going there. I'm not sure. But from what I can tell, we are in the official full swing springtime. So welcome everybody to Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm Doc Hamels, and I have an award-winning guest today. He was the Person of the Year for 2022 from the Chautauqua County Chamber of Commerce. So stick around because we're going to have a very interesting discussion. So there's your teaser for the morning. Hey, gosh, a lot of stuff going on. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon. Hello to all of our friends in the Ukraine. Hope you're hanging in there. I see things that look like they're getting a little better, a little stronger. Looks like things are maybe, hopefully, turning for the positive. I don't know. I've been reading articles. You never know. But anyways, we wish you well and hope you're doing well. And Natalia and friends, good morning, good afternoon. I'm not sure we never can remember what time it is in the Ukraine. I think it's afternoon by now. Anyways, we'll wave to you. For those of you in the Westfield area, you're going to be watching me tomorrow most likely because you don't have any power unless you're watching on your phones. And it's no surprise. They've been talking about this for months now. So no power today and no power next Saturday from what I understand. So hopefully whatever they're doing with the grid, they're getting it fixed and then you'll be all set for quite a long time. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the Ukraine. So good afternoon, almost supper time. Time is a strange thing, isn't it? All right. Good afternoon to all our listeners on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people in Jamestown. Thanks for listening Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. Okay. we're so glad we can drop in. And again, today's show I think you're going to find extremely interesting. All right, let's just keep on going here. Oh, we are a live show, though, for the rest of the world, except for Westfield. But you can call us anyways on your phones. 716-753-5225. If you want to give us a call, I have a question for my guest or myself. If you have an announcement, we share those as much as we possibly can. We have a bunch today we're going to get to in a little bit. You always can email us at Chautauqua Sunrise at gmail.com during the week, which sometimes we get mail. Okay, we did this week. All righty, so stay in tune with us. Let's see, what do I have here? Happy 50th anniversary for the Office for the Aging Services, Dr. Marianne Spanos and company. I was one of the speakers this week over at Celeron Harbor Hotel. Wow! I thought, well, maybe it could be like 50 people. There was like over 250 people there. I had to really put out and come into my A game, no messing around. I had to be serious when I gave my talk. Anyways, it was a great event. It's just so nice to see so many people there without masks on. It was the first event they've had in 3 years, so good on all of you for the Office for Aging Services. You do great work, and we'll be having you on the show from time to time. All right, what else we got here? Well, the other day was May 4th, so it was May the 4th be with you. And then we had Cinco de Mayo, which was yesterday. People were celebrating in their own way with guacamole and chips, from what I understand. And today, of all days, I woke up and I hear, my eyes half blurry, God save the king. He was coronated in England, Charles III, so there's a new coronated king and queen, Camilla. So I really wasn't planning on watching it because it was going to start at like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, I guess, here. But I was like blurry about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I sat there for a little while. And it was quite interesting to watch anyways. And it was a throwback for me because I saw a lot of choir boys, and I was a choir boy when I was a kid. And so they were all dressed in their cassocks, I guess you call them. I don't even remember. Anyways, but everybody was really dressed up nice, and it was kind of a historical event. So anyways, here's the King Charles. All right, what else we got here? Oh, I want to do a shout out. She's been watching this show for some time now, and she comments from time to time. So Nancy from Forestville, I know you're watching, so good morning, and maybe you're watching it later on, but thanks for all the pleasant comments that you always make about the show. I'm glad you're able to tune in Forestville, New York. And in fact, Nancy, we put a pin on our board, which is over there, on our Chautauqua County map just for you. All right, what else we got here? Oh! We have a birthday coming up on Wednesday. Is that true? And then we have a birthday coming up on Thursday.
Also true.
Also true. So we have two birthdays. We have two Berts, a Bert and a Bert, Bert and Bert. We got Randy Bert on the 10th. Happy birthday, Randy. He's our all-around good guy here. He's the one that wires me up every morning with all these gizmos. And then Justin's going to have a birthday on the 11th, the next day. It's kind of interesting. Do you guys go out to get and celebrate together? No, yeah. Just my birthday's my birthday, your birthday's your birthday. Anyways, happy birthday. I got a note here. What does it say?
Just our ages.
Oh! Your dad's that old? Mm-hmm. But you're only 30. You're big 3-0. Mm-hmm. Wow. Goes by pretty quick. Anyways, Justin, Bert, my cameraman, my concierge, my right arm here, is going to have a birthday this week. So happy birthday, Justin. What else do I have here? Finally, I don't know about you all, but the grass has been growing. Grass has been growing, and we've had all kinds of rain. And y'all see my dog in the beginning of the show there, Brody. This is how I measure the grass. Brody was out there the other day, and I was looking for him because all I could see was this much of him. I got to get that grass cut. It's like, holy cow, we've had so much rain. So hopefully this weekend I'm going to get to it, and Brody doesn't get lost in the grass. He's about, I don't know, he's about this tall, but the grass is really getting long. All right, so I'm getting way off track here. I want to do some announcements, and then we will get to my guest who's anxiously waiting to come on, I can tell. All right, we got some announcements from the Ripley, New York Public Library. So if you want to pop those up, Jeff, and we'll get started. These are just some fun events that people should know about. And I know many of you are in the area do check out what's going on at the library. And did you know that you can join armchair exercise class? Okay, ready to get in shape? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10:30 a.m. and then Thursday nights at 6 p.m. So they have some fun, easy exercise, and I've been seeing a lot on Facebook where a lot of people are just doing like sitting in a chair and exercising. So we're all coming off a long winter, and let's get back into shape. So that's coming up Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, 10:30 a.m., Thursdays at 6 p.m. Okay, what's the next one, Jeff? We got two more from the Ripley Library. Okay. All right, we got bingo, candy bar bingo. All right, that's coming up May 13th at 11 o'clock. And it's for everybody. All you got to do is bring in 2 full-size candy bars. Okay, they're selling popcorn and they got treats. And everybody enjoys a good game of bingo. And I know we used to play it when we were kids. And I don't know, you haven't seen too many bingo places lately, but I guess because of the pandemic. But anyways, May 13th, 11 o'clock, candy bar bingo at the Ripley Public Library. Okay, and then one more from Ripley, I believe. If you want to bring that one up, Jeff. Okay, Nutrition with Molly. Okay, that's coming up this Tuesday, May 9th at 6 p.m. And then again Thursday, May 18th at 11 a.m. All right, learn some eating habits, some tips on easy meals to make, and they're going to actually make the dishes right there, then and there for you. And this is all through the Cornell Cooperative Extension. Molly Harvey is a nutritionist, and that's going to be right there at the library. And, you know, there's a lot of focus on more grains and beans in our diet, the Mediterranean diet. So check out Nutrition with Molly, May 9th and 18th at the library in Ripley. Thanks, Jeff, for bringing that up. You know, recently I was at a restaurant somewhere in Texas, and one of the side dishes was called Ancient Protein Grains. I had no idea what it was, so I said, whatever it is, I'll try it. Well, it ended up being, let's see if I can remember right, there was some kind of a bean in there, there was quinoa and rice, and they were prepared in a way that they were like not killed, not destroyed, but more kind of a crunchy thing, and you got a lot of nutritional value. So I can relate to what's going on there at the library. Libraries these days are more than just take out a book. They're kind of a community center. So anyways, go down the Ripley Library. So I know other libraries in the area, the Prendergast, Brockton, I don't know, there's like 50 of them all over the place. Check out your local library. They've got things going on. All right, let's get going, Jeff. Ready? Here we go. The Chamber of Commerce it has a podcast now with a continuing focus on promoting small businesses in Chautauqua County. The Chautauqua County Chamber of Commerce has launched a new monthly radio show and podcast aimed at telling the stories behind local businesses. There's some shows on TV now that talks about how the candy industry started or the taco business. A lot of these companies have really, really interesting stories. So I bet this is going to be great. The Chamber is an interview-based platform. Their podcast is called Chamber Chats, to focus on the backstories about local business people and organizations, how they got started, what drives them, and how they focus on customers and merchandise and service. Their objective is to provide listeners with some tidbits they may not have known about local businesses and to immerse them in the narratives of local business people. The Chamber is partnering with WRFA, Low Power to the People, a listener-supported, non-commercial, low-power FM radio station, which is provided as a public service by the Reginald A. Center for the Arts in Jamestown. They're our partner here. So what's going on? The first episode will air this weekend and will feature John Felton of the Southern Chautauqua Federal Credit Union, a countywide business with a unique background and focus on serving in the community in a variety of ways. All right, the show airs at 10:30 a.m. the first Sunday of each month and will be available to stream as a podcast the following day. Now, I mentioned this, I think, last week. You can put WRFA 107.9 on your phone. It's an app, and I've listened to it around the world. So you can take it and listen to their podcast Sundays at 10:30. All right. Coming up, one more thing going on in Ripley. Let's get that slide 15 up, Jeff. All right, This is coming up on May 20th. This is, hang on a second. This is called the 5K Buddy Run Walk. Saturday, May 20th, starts at 9 a.m. Participants should meet at the bell in front of the Ripley Central School. There's a old-fashioned bell out there in a Boxton area garden. The race walk will be taking place on Wiley Road. Okay, all ages, free, donations welcome, appreciated. What is a buddy run? This is a memorial walk run for a student who was a part of the class of 2023. For this race, you can walk with a buddy. If you do, you have to cross the finish line with your buddy to demonstrate that you are never alone through anything, even a 5K walk. All donations go to the Chautauqua Lake Owen Miller Scholarship, which was created with the purpose of promoting kindness in memory of Owen. Okay? So, bottom line here is don't let anybody be alone. Stick together, look out for each other, and this is a great way to remind us that we should have a buddy in life and stick together and watch out. Okay? So that's coming up May 20th, 9 p.m. All right, we're going to talk about that again next week. All right, here's some announcements from our county executive, P.J. Wendell. He's proclaiming this month as Mental Health Awareness Month. Bazing! Did I nail that or what, Steve?
You did it.
Jamestown Community College, Jamestown campus will host the proclamation this year. Mental Health Awareness Month's first observance in the United States was by the National Mental Health Association, now known as Mental Health America, MHA, in 1949. That's older than me. Since there has been a continued effort to educate the public about mental health, support those with mental illness and their families, and combat stigma surrounding mental health. This year, MHA is encouraging everyone to go look around and look within, and offers a toolkit on their website, MHAnational.org, okay? So I was trying to say that as a word, but you can't. MHAnational.org for anyone interested in spreading awareness about mental health. This year's Children's Mental Health Association Week is May 7th through the 13th, and the theme is Accept, Advocate, Act, instituted by the National Federation of Families. Children's Mental Health Awareness Week began 18 years ago, and so on. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all the statistics, but just to let you know that 1 in 5 U.S. adults experiences mental illness each year. 1 in 6 youth ages 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder each year. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 14. Ages 10 to 14. That's sobering. Chautauqua County Department of Mental Health and its community partners will join a national movement to raise awareness about mental health during these recognized times. Many events are happening this month in Chautauqua County to acknowledge this critical month. You can learn more about them and access information about local supports and other behavioral health resources at chqgov.com, mental health, hygiene, and so forth. Okay, for more information, there's a hotline that you can call anytime, anywhere, 24/7. It's called 1-800-720-0461. Again, 1-800-720-0461. All right, and let's see here. Prevention Works. They're doing a celebration this week as well, and much in the same way. Let's see, let me just drop down here. Keep in mind, Prevention Works provides services to adults, including their Triple P Positive Parenting Program, Triple P for teens, and Triple P Stepping Stones for parents. So lots going on this month and this week with the county, with Prevention Works, and my guest is going to be talking about some of those things as well. So if you're interested in what Prevention Works is doing, Natasha Battles, Director of Programs, give her a call at 664-3608. 664-3608. And right now, this is all coming at me really fast to think in terms of the fact that our county has a lot of services to help people out. Now, slide 16. Are you a gardener? Listen to this one, okay? Cornell Extension of Chautauqua County's Master Gardener Volunteer Program is excited to announce the 2023 Evening in the Garden. Let's see, hang on. It's educational program. Evening in the Garden takes place on the third Wednesday of the month at the Master Gardener Demonstration. This is where gardening techniques are tested. This hands-on experience provides opportunities for questions and learning. And if you're interested, the first event will be held June 21 at 6 p.m. and they're going to be talking all about tomatoes. All right, so if more information, give them a call, 664-9502. If you're interested in gardening and you'd like to know more about how to do things better, including myself, again, 664-9502. And finally, Justin, if you get the shot of this for me, the Helen Keller Little Known Facts is being sponsored by the Mayville Chautauqua Lions Club, and it's going to be held at the Smith Memorial Library at the Chautauqua Institute, May 8th, coming up this week, Monday, 4:30 p.m., free admission, and all are welcome. And we'll get a shot of this poster, and ready, set, shoot it. Here it comes. Da, 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 da. We had the Lions Club on here a couple weeks. Randy was my co-host for that event, and so if you're interested, again, May 4th, no, May 8th, I'm reading backwards, at 4:30 in the Smith Library over Chautauqua Institution. Okay? So we're going to, wow, that's a close-up. Anyways, we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it,
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got, or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Reminds me of the day my brother and I decided to cut our own hair. Did you ever?
Cut mine last night.
You just cut your own hair, Justin?
By Chris. Chris did it.
All right.
So if it looks bad, it's small.
Well, guys are all telling me at the same time they cut their own hair, but my mother, she had this thing and used to really pinch. Well, anyways, we digress. I want to welcome back to the show Stephen M. Cobb, the director of the Mental Health Association of Chautauqua County. Did I get that right?
You got that right. Yeah.
Stephen, you were the Person of the Year for 2022.
Yeah.
Quite the honor.
It was quite the
I would have
honor.
been like through the moon.
It was quite the surprise too. So
Oh, you didn't know it?
No, I didn't know it. So it was they had my folks at work, board members had nominated me, and they kept it a surprise. So it was a real surprise, and I think anyone who receives this would feel that it's a tremendous honor. But to be a nonprofit that focuses on mental health and to acknowledge the work I do at the MHA, and I'm a person who's pretty open about being in recovery and the things I've experienced, and it really felt like an honor to be acknowledged for that.
Wow.
From the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know if I'm the traditional Chamber of Commerce Person of the Year.
I don't think there's anything traditional.
Yeah, I guess not. But it was really a surprise, a wonderful surprise.
And I think you had just been on the show before that, and then I see that you were the Person of the Year, and go, holy cow, that was great.
Yeah, that was great.
But
wonderful.
I read a little bit about that, and because I do a little research ahead of time on my shows.
Yeah.
You had an interesting road. You've traveled a very interesting life.
I have.
And please share whatever you want to share that brought you to today. Really.
Sure. So I grew up here in Chautauqua County.
Okay.
When I was 18, I went to New York City to go to school, and I was a theater kid. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was an acting major. I went to NYU, and I also learned quite a bit about set design. So I had a bit of a career working in theater and little film stuff and a lot of set design and set work.
Very cool.
It was, yeah, it was. And worked a lot in the restaurant business, because any good actor is
Yeah, see?
probably working at some point in the restaurant business.
Can't give up the day job.
You couldn't give that up. So, yeah, so I was there for about 26 years. I lived in New York City.
Wow.
So coming back to this area, to Jamestown, because my family was here. But I had experienced addiction issues and mental health issues in New York. They became quite prominent at some point. And eventually I found myself homeless in New York City.
You were homeless?
I was homeless. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So you really speak from personal experience on all this.
I do. Yeah.
Because we're going to be talking about homelessness.
We're going to be
shortly.
talking about homelessness. Yeah. So after being homeless for about 1.5 years in New York City, and that's a hard thing to do. And when we talk about that, I'll talk about what homelessness is to me. It wasn't every night on the street, but there were nights on the street. And so I came back here to Jamestown to try to get sober again. I had been sober once before in New York City, and that worked well for me. But I'd gotten to a point where I just felt I was not going to be able to get sober in New York City. And this felt, Chautauqua County, my parents felt like a safe spot. And I was blessed. My mom was in recovery, so my mom had some awareness.
So we're talking about the buddy system.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right. So when I came back here, my mom had been sober for over 20 years. You know, she was a great support and had some, and my father too, really had great awareness of proper ways to help and what they could and couldn't do.
What do you mean? Just stop? Just
right?
stop it. You
Just
know?
stop
You
it.
can do it if you want to.
Right.
No.
And you know, and my parents knew they could help me with housing and food and things like that. But the other parts, they needed to get other people to help me.
Yeah,
because that's
it's
not
easier that way.
That's not something you want your parents helping you with. But yeah. And when I came back here, it was my intention just to, you know, get stable, get sober, and then head back to New York City. But when I got up here, there were a couple things. I realized my parents were getting old and needed some support, and I wanted to be able to give back to them like they had given to me so recently in supporting me to get sober. And New York City seemed just a little too far to be able to do that. And I got connected with the agency that I work at now, the Mental Health Association in Chautauqua County, when I was up here getting sober. And the amazing thing that happened to me at the Mental Health Association was it was a lot easier for me to see myself as someone who had a substance use disorder and addiction issues than it was to see myself as someone with mental health issues. For me, the mental health issues had more stigma than the addiction issues, and I just would not acknowledge those or talk about them or reach out for help. And I ended up at the MHA, and Rick Huber, who was the executive director at that point, I am deeply, I feel deep gratitude for Rick and everything that he taught me and the agency that he had created at that point. And really, Rick, in an amazing way, connected with me and began to talk to me about, hey, you need to talk about and think about how mental health is affecting your ability to not use drugs.
Because I think research is pretty clear. They're interconnected.
They're absolutely connected for me. And the drugs that I was using initially treated the mental health symptoms that I have very well. Okay. Not in the end, and not when you get to the point of homelessness. It's obviously not working at that point, but but boy, did they help in the beginning. And to be able to get to a point where I was willing to talk to a professional about mental health issues, to consider taking meds for mental health issues, that I honestly thought that was the ultimate mark of no control and almost a failure. That's how
That's interesting.
skewed my stigma.
I mean, I'm
was
sitting
at
here
that
going
point.
like, what's the problem here?
Yeah, well, and
Because that's where your mind is.
but
at
that's
that
where
point.
my mind was,
Yeah.
and that's the mental health. So you were talking about the Mental Health Month and Mental Health America. We're an affiliate
Yeah.
of Mental Health America, and one of our big tasks is reducing that stigma, to get rid of that, to break that down, so people in the community don't feel like if I need to take medication for a short period of time or even the rest of my life, that's not an indication that I'm any less of anything. That I'm any
So what
less
is
of
the
a person.
stigma with the meds? I mean, we all take medicine for something or
Yeah.
other at some point.
Yeah.
Is it like I'm out of control, or what's the issue?
I think some of it's that we're out of control, and taking mental health meds. Some of them, sometimes it's kind of difficult to find out what it is that you need to take.
Gotcha.
With meds for high blood pressure, you take the medication.
Pretty straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward.
And you see the result. There it is.
You
Bam.
see the results,
Yeah.
and the blood pressure goes down. So the thing that happens with mental health meds often is that in one sense, sometimes it feels like you're throwing darts at a dartboard to try to find what's going to get closest to the center to help you.
Okay.
So you might have to try one, and that doesn't work, and then you have to switch to another
Then
one.
you get frustration going.
You get
in there,
frustration. You feel.
See, I told you it wasn't going to work,
Yeah,
right?
you feel you're being experimented on.
Wow.
People can, and sometimes side effects can be pretty intense. But when you're working with someone, a doctor who's going to help you with this, you want to have that conversation with the doctor, and you want to discuss all these things. And it's really a team process to, hey, this isn't working for me. This med is really dehydrating me enormously. How do I deal with that?
Yeah, and then there was a lot of cramping and
Cramping, and some of the meds, or one of the meds that I take, dehydration is a huge thing. And I got water. If I'm sitting and talking,
If you
I
need
always
more
have
water,
water.
we got lots of
But
water. Right?
and it's thinking about those things, and how do I deal with that? And
That's
a
very
lot of
interesting,
a lot of the stuff we do at the MHA with our coaches, is working with people, is because doctors are not always going to have time to sit with you and plan those things out and discuss those things. So at the MHA in Chautauqua County, with our peer specialists, that's some of the things that we're really good at. So, how are you going to take your meds? If they impact you, how do you deal with that?
So where are you guys located?
So we have an office in Jamestown on Water Street, 31 Water Street, and we have an office in Dunkirk on Eagle Street. So, so anyone, we're open Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 5:30 at night in both locations, and we're open in Jamestown on Saturday from 8:30 to 1:30. So people can just walk right in our place. You don't need an appointment. All of our services are free. So we're not going to ask for your insurance card. We're not going to ask for a copay. We're not going to ask for payment. So I think accessing us and our services are easy for people. You don't have to make an appointment. You can make an appointment. And that the clinical services that we don't directly provide there, so that would be seeing psychiatrist, doctor, or the counseling part, we would, if you come to us first, we would connect you with those.
And then your insurance covers.
And then your insurance would cover. And if you don't have insurance, or you're wondering, I don't have enough insurance, that's one thing we do pretty good too, is to try to facilitate that connection.
Woo! Now let me get this straight.
Yeah.
X amount of years ago, you're in New York City.
Yep.
You're homeless. And today, you're Person of the Year for 2022 and the Director of the Mental Health Association.
That's right. That's right.
Wow. That's quite a story.
It is.
All right. So
Grateful.
I got so many questions in my mind. I'm trying to sort out which one I want to ask first. All right. People are now looking at you as like a poster boy now. Like you're the guy that I could, if you can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Right. This is hard work.
Yeah.
From what I've been told, this is really difficult work.
Yeah.
And I've known people whatever the addiction is. I've just known people across the board.
Yeah.
And they'll go 3, 4, 5 years, boosh, then they fall.
Yep.
And then we pick them up and
Yep.
try them out again.
Yep.
That's typical. Yeah.
That's typical. Yes, that's
and
typical.
shouldn't be seen as failure, but
Nope.
that you had success, you had a bump in the road.
Yep.
Let's get back on. All right.
Right.
So now, having grown up as a young boy, my mother was the office manager for the Buffalo Area Council on Alcoholism.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So she worked there. She wasn't a participant.
Yeah.
All right. We made that clear. But we had alcoholism in our family and addictive personalities in generations.
Yep.
So she was always trying to make us aware of those things. And so where I'm going with this is, you have AA. Hi, I'm John and I'm
Yep.
an alcoholic, or hi, I'm whatever.
Yeah.
So are there organizations within your world that are similar to this?
Sure, at what we do at the MHA and
Yeah.
like that. So sure. So we at both of our locations in Jamestown and Dunkirk, we host meetings like that.
Oh,
like
okay.
some of the real traditional stuff, like 12-step recovery-based meetings, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. We have Crystal Meth Anonymous.
Crystal meth? Really?
Meth is, as most people have probably heard and know, is a huge problem in our community, really impacting in a negative way our community and the people in it. So we have that, but we also have an enormous amount of homegrown groups that focus on mental health symptoms, addiction, anxiety. Some of the most popular groups and support that people want when they come to us is addressing trauma. In the past, we have, I think 6 different trauma groups that we offer during the week, focusing on different things, co-ed and men's trauma group, women's trauma group. We have a trauma group for veterans that we do. We found that trauma is a huge factor, especially with addiction, but also with mental health.
All right, you opened this door, and I'm going to
Yeah.
go through. Trauma, we've discussed this to a certain point with the veterans here, with PTSD, the horrors of war, and on and on and on.
Yep.
All right, I've talked with some of the folks from domestic abuse.
Yep.
Okay, I get that.
Right.
But you have 6 different groups talking about trauma. So
Yeah.
what other kinds of trauma are we talking about here?
Wow.
Or maybe it's that.
Yeah. Well, it's lots of different kinds of trauma. It's
Being exposed to situations
being exposed to situations
like suicide and other kinds
suicide.
of... Yeah.
I got to tell you that with my staff, I feel that one of the most important things and responsibilities that I have as the executive director is to make sure that my staff are not being vicariously traumatized by the trauma that our participants bring in.
Yes.
So trauma can come from witnessing it in someone else. The number of people in our county who are experiencing overdose, that number is really high right now.
We just talked about that.
And we work really close with a lot of people who've experienced overdose. So, we see those numbers. I saw the program you had with Steve Kilburn here, and Steve was talking about in Chautauqua County, on average, 1 person a day dies of a fatal, and that's true.
I've been watching the newspapers and stuff. Yikes.
But if 1 person a day dies, 20 or 30 people experience overdose, and right. Yeah. So I really have to watch out for that and keep that at the forefront of taking care of my staff. So there is that. We're talking about homelessness. We'll talk a bit more about homelessness, I'm sure. But folks who experience homelessness, that can be a traumatic. That can be a traumatic thing. Trauma can come from that sense of not really having a sense of safety, that you don't have when you're homeless.
Okay, so let me just pull back a second.
Sure.
So, Mental Health Association.
Yep.
You're in 2 different cities.
Yep.
It's free of charge.
Yep.
Addictions, trauma, all kinds of things, alcoholism,
Right.
drugs. And how big of a staff do you have?
We have 31 staff right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep.
31 people work
Yep.
under you?
Yep. Yep.
I had no idea you were that large.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what are some of their titles? Case managers, things like this? Or?
Yeah. So we don't. They're all of our staff who work with people are in recovery themselves. So
Really?
Yep. So whether it's a substance use issue or mental health issue, and for most of us, it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, yeah.
And also too, we recognize that if you are a person who has supported someone in recovery, that's a recovery journey also.
Yes,
for
it is.
for that person. So we recognize that as a form of recovery. So we have one of our peer specialists, their area of expertise is supporting families who are supporting people, significant others or family members who are in recovery.
Okay. Very often the question will come up, well, who pays for all this? I mean, how does that all work?
Yeah, we're kind of unique at this point. Excuse me. We're kind of unique and in many ways blessed that all of our funding comes through local foundations and New York State governmental agencies, Chautauqua County, the federal government. So everything is either grant or foundation funded.
And you
at this
oversee
point.
all that?
They oversee all that.
Whew, what
Yep.
a headache that is.
That's a lot. That's a lot of work. And it
So
gets,
where did you learn to do all this?
I didn't. That's why I hire people who know how to do
There
that,
you go.
because that's not my area of expertise.
So how long have you been director?
4 years. 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
31 people,
Yep.
4 years. Stephen, this is quite a story.
Thanks.
Now,
Thanks.
the reason why I asked you to come on the
Yeah.
show, I didn't even know the background to all this until
Yeah.
some of it today and prior to this. But I mean, just prior to this. But I shared with you that I had been traumatized, if you
Yeah.
will,
Yeah.
before Christmas.
Right.
Where long story short, and I think I've told the story already, is where I picked up somebody along the way and discovered they were homeless.
Yeah.
And it was in a snowstorm. It was just before Christmas. And I had a discussion with this person, dropped them off, and then discovered they were homeless. They were not escapees from a mental institution,
Yeah.
and this person chose to live on this street. And I just couldn't believe it. And then when I investigated further, I actually knew the person
Yeah.
when they were much younger, not at the age they were now. And I was just like, this can't be happening in Chautauqua County. I couldn't believe it,
Yeah.
only to find out it's happening more than I realized.
Yeah.
So can we talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah.
And you make the connections to mental health or addiction anywhere you want with the
Sure.
homeless. But I've been seeing that you've been heading up some really cool projects in the area for homelessness. So
Yeah.
I'll be quiet and just let you go off on that.
Okay.
Go for it.
So my agency, or the agency that I work for, the MHA, we've always worked with folks who are experiencing homelessness, but we've never provided shelter. We've never provided housing for them. So this is very new to us. So, and last summer, Eddie Sundquist, who's the mayor of
Right.
the city of Jamestown, called bunch of organizations together, including mine, community-based organizations that serve people and faith-based organizations. And we really noticed, we're located at the Gateway Center, so we're kind of right in the center of downtown Jamestown.
Right.
And,
I know where you are.
we knew that homelessness was, over the course of the summer, had gotten a lot more intense. We were seeing a lot more people.
Due to COVID?
Due to COVID, due to the end of COVID moratoriums on evictions and
right,
things
right,
like
right.
that.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's made a big change. And the other thing that we can't ignore with homelessness is the deteriorating housing stock in Chautauqua County, especially in our urban centers like Jamestown and Dunkirk. So.
What do you mean, just not available, or it's not appropriate?
Not appropriate and not available.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we all kind of got together and realized that we were going to have an issue in the winter when it got cold, and talked about how are we going to deal with this? How are we going to keep folks safe? How are we going to keep people from not freezing to death, which could happen? And it's hard to come up with a solution for homelessness really quickly. And one of the things at the MHA that I'm proud of is that we're kind of a nimble organization, and we're able to think outside the box just because of the structure. The fact that we don't bill insurance companies for the majority of our income also it gives us a lot of freedom to work outside those regulations. And those regulations and insurance is great, and it's needed, but it also can confine you as to what you can do. So we were an organization that I think had the ability to be nimble and be quick. And we also had space where we realized that we could use that at the Gateway Center.
Now, Gateway Center, that's what St. Susan's
That's
is?
where St. Susan's
I'm
is,
familiar with that.
Community Helping Hands. So that's a rather large building, and there was space in there.
How many people are we talking here?
So we have beds for 20 people.
20 people.
A night. So we very quickly were able to set up a program for Chautauqua County for the first time. This program hasn't existed in Chautauqua County, called Code Blue Warming Center. And Code Blue Warming Center traditionally run from November 1st through the end of May, or the end of April, I'm sorry. And it's a New York State program to keep people out of the cold. So a warming center can be just a room with chairs and a coffee pot, or it could be a shelter type space where you have cots and beds and showers and everything.
Okay, now I have a question.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Yukon is...
You can.
You can.
Yes.
This is a separate organization.
Separate organization.
Is there for homeless as well?
They're for homeless also.
But men.
Men only.
Okay.
They have been operating at capacity most of the time, so it was clear that we would need something else. So, and the other thing that people often don't realize or know in Chautauqua County, so we do have the UCAN mission for homeless men.
Okay.
For women, our resources are much more limited. So we have a new center that the Salvation Army runs.
Right.
And that is, so they take in their people who've experienced domestic violence, and then they if they are not filled with people who've experienced domestic violence, they can make some of their beds available for homeless women, but they're almost always filled with community members who've experienced domestic violence. So there are no homeless beds for women there.
Whew, this is complicated.
So in Chautauqua County, at this point, we don't have a homeless shelter for women. So women are put either in hotels by Department of Social Services in Chautauqua County, or they could be sent to neighboring counties where they do have a shelter system for women. So, and when you send somebody outside the county,
And now we have problems.
that can be a problem. Yeah, because, well, if you're a resident of Chautauqua County and you need to keep coming back to do things to get back on your feet,
Right.
that's a lot of transportation back and forth, and that becomes very difficult.
Okay, I have a question now. All right, woo.
Yeah.
Again, my head's swimming around
Yeah.
this topic. All right, so I got the sense, now you have to help me with this,
Sure.
that homeless folks sometimes travel up and down the thruway. Maybe they start in the summertime up north, and then they work their way south during the winter as the winters are getting tougher, maybe end up, I don't know, Virginia's, Carolinas,
Yeah.
and then they start heading back up. And please, I'm not trying to be insulting
No.
or anything like this, but I got a sense that I see people more when the weather changes than I do in the winter. But maybe I'm all wrong on this.
Yeah. Well, so yes, I think you are going to see more people in the winter. Even during the winter, although we've operated most nights 85 to 100% capacity. So, But I will say that on those colder nights, yes, of course, we see a lot more people. Yeah, that is an issue too, although I will say that, and we haven't operated in the summer yet, so some of this is learning for me, but there are also months in the summer where the homeless census population in Chautauqua County can be pretty high.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I find that they're migrating. I don't like to use the word returning home perhaps, or visiting, and then when the weather gets cold, they kind of move south. Yeah, perhaps. Now, is there a steady population of homeless here?
Yeah, there are.
So, what are we talking? You think?
Well,
and I know that was a discussion I read in one of your articles that it's really hard to nail down how many people are homeless.
Yeah, it is. So I just jotted down some of these numbers because I felt at some point we'd discuss this. So in 2022 in Chautauqua County, the number of homeless or at risk of being homeless was 1,487 people.
Wait a minute. 1,487 people?
Yep.
In Chautauqua County?
Yeah. Yep.
I had no idea it was that high.
Yeah. That's all age groups.
All ages.
Yep.
So it could be a family of a couple?
Yep.
Okay, wow.
In 2021, that number was 1,020. So in that 1 year, there's been a jump of 460 people experiencing homelessness.
But, let's define homeless. We haven't really done that because some people, the government may define it one way. How do y'all define it?
Well, so the definitions that we are required to use are from HUD, Department of Health and or Department of Urban Development. So homelessness or at-risk homelessness. So if you are literally homeless, that's someone who's living on the street or in a shelter that is designated as a homeless shelter. So that could be UCAN, or that could be us, or that could be the Anu Center. Okay. So those that would be that. So at risk of homelessness is somebody who is probably somebody who is couch surfing, or somebody who doesn't have a structure that is designated as their own.
Day by day, week by week.
Yeah, right.
Almost 1,500 people in our county.
Yeah, and that's significant. And I said to you I'd talk a bit more about me being homeless, and that year and a half I was homeless. So some of that period of time was couch surfing and staying with someone. And then some of that was actually, staying on the street, staying in the parks. I was terrified to enter the shelter system in New York City, so I never officially entered that. So if I didn't have a place where somebody who I could stay with, then I was sleeping in the park or on the subway or something like that. Ooh. So, but I also have to make the point that, so when I was staying with somebody, a friend or somebody like that, that's still a pretty risky thing because you don't have that sense of safety. You don't have that place.
Will I wake up
call
with
your
all my money? Will I have my possessions? Will I wake up?
And I wasn't always staying with the healthiest choice in people,
right?
And I was in active addiction then, so I was making a lot of those choices based on
the best choices,
not the best choices at that point. I don't know if
I spoke with this individual that I talked about in the wintertime. And this individual gave me their life story in like 3 minutes. I mean, it was like, just this person wanted me to know this stuff. And the point the person made was they did not feel safe in a shelter. And I don't know what shelter they were referring to. It was down south because this person migrated, according to what they were telling me. But that they felt that they would get robbed during the night or molested or beat up or whatever. How do you safeguard that?
Good staff. Honestly, that really is. One of the things I was really with the shelter. So we were able to find some space in our building. The community, it used to be called the Cafe, the Community Helping Hands had, and it's a beautiful space that they had stopped using when the pandemic hit.
Right.
So the space was open.
You had a
and
kitchen? You're all
they
set?
had a kitchen. We had all that stuff, and they said, yes, you can use it. So
Super.
shout out to Community Helping Hands. They've been a great,
Yep, I
great
know-
and
I've
willing
known that group, yep.
partner for us. But it's a beautiful space.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that just was an amazing moment to me was when I was up there. I was up there a lot in the beginning and helping out myself, but that moment where, and we had 20 people in the shelter at that point, and I was helping out with an overnight shift, and I stepped back at about 2 in the morning and everyone was asleep, and I was just, sitting there watching, making sure there were no issues. And I looked around the room and there were 20 people sleeping who felt safe, who felt respected, and who felt valued,
all of you.
and they felt comfortable. And
Non-judgmental.
non-judgmental, and I just teared up.
Yeah.
Because I have experienced that before, and that sense, that lack of safety that you have when you are homeless, not having a sense of safety so impacts everything you do as a human being, your choices, and when you are homeless and you're able to get that, again, that sense of safety, then other things become possible.
I think many people have looked down on homeless people for whatever reason, and I think people would be shocked to know how many people are one paycheck away from being homeless in this country, let alone our county. So congratulations, thank you for what you do.
Thanks.
And sadly, I think you've got a long-term job here.
Yeah.
So what's the end game?
So what's the end game? So at least for us, for the end game, is to so our program was extended for a month by New York State. So we're supposed to close at the end of May. We're looking at other options for us to continue because we need to continue.
1,487 people.
Right. So, and some of it's regs and some of it's finances, and we're just sorting that all out so we can continue. So we'll work on that. There are other scheduled homeless facilities that are scheduled to come online over the next couple of years in Chautauqua County through COI, the UCAN, and the News Center with Salvation Army.
Right.
So they both have plans in place. So I kind of think for us, our plan is to fill that gap until those other agencies get those more permanent things on board. And then I think for us as an agency, what we want to look at is how do we do something very specific in supporting folks who are experiencing homelessness, who are also experiencing very active mental health symptoms, and who are still using substances.
Okay.
And that's a very specialized thing. But if somebody is not working with that population, the homeless issue is never going to go away. So that's where I see us, and I hope we can go.
Okay, Stephen, we're down to less than a minute.
Wow.
Yeah. This has
Goes
been
fast.
Thank you for coming on the show and sharing everything, your life, your agency, and so forth. And I wish you the very best.
Thanks.
And if there's anything I can do here at the show, let me know.
I will.
People that are watching right now, if you know someone that's homeless, has a mental health issue, addiction issue, who should they call and how do they get hold of you or whatever?
Yeah, they should reach out to us, the MHA in Chautauqua County. We're on Facebook. You can reach out to us on Facebook through Messenger, or you can give us a call, and our phone number is 716-661-9044.
Okay, 661-9044.
Yep.
Okay.
And like I said, social media, we're on there. You can reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also go to our website, which is mhachautauqua.org, and you can send a message to us there.
So there's no reason why someone can't get a hold of you.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Reach out.
Folks, you've been watching
try to help
Chautauqua
you.
Sunrise. My guest today has been the Executive Director of the Mental Health Association of Chautauqua County. That's a mouthful.
It is.
Stephen Cobb. Stephen, thanks for coming in.
Thank
This
you.
has been very enlightening. Folks, this is part of us. This is serious stuff. So please, let's do what we can to help each other and support agencies like Stephen's. And we're going to continue on this discussion over the years to come. I'm Doc Hamels. Thanks for joining me. I hope you learned something. Share this show on the media. It's important. See you next week. Take care. Enjoy the good weather. Bye now.